Hello, I am Anubha Walia, Director and leading training and executive coaching firm Prisma Philosophy at New Delhi. I want to talk to you today about one of the most important types of communication, that is non-verbal communication. My specialty area is in the communication programs. We'll share about what are some of the major developments that have changed and evolved over the years in terms of what constitute an effective communicator with the body language. By the end of today's session, you will be able to describe different types of non-verbal communication and differentiate among different types of non-verbal communication. Communication is of two types, verbal communication and non-verbal communication. In the verbal communication, message is communicated in the form of words. It can be oral, written, video and audio-video with the silence form. Non-verbal type of communication includes body language, gestures, facial expression and so on. Although non-verbal communication often supplements verbal communication. Non-verbal communication, unlike the verbal communication, helps in establishing and maintaining the interpersonal relationship, while the verbals only help in communicating the external events. People use non-verbals to express emotions, interpersonal attitudes, conduct rituals such as greetings and bring forward one's personality. The abundant research has been conducted regarding types, effects and expression of unspoken communication and behavior. While these signals are often so subtle that we are not consciously aware of them. Research has also identified several different types of non-verbal communication. These are body language, facial expression, posture, gestures, touch, proximics, appearance and artifacts and paralanguage. Communication, which is a study of the body movement, gesture, facial, expression, etc., is called body language. To communicate with body language is also called kinesis. Kinesis is communicating by body movement without uttering any word. It is perhaps the most often used non-verbal communication. Some kinesis movement and their implied meaning, like when you are tired or sorry or health, gets reflected through your body language. How can you improve your body language? Well, for an example, if you find difficult to make an eye-to-eye contact, try looking at a spot between their eyes of the person. They will never know about it. If you give a strong handshake, it is quite annoying. Practice a firm handshake that shows you have confidence and are sure of yourself. Let's explore facial expressions. Face is the most expressive part of the body. Facial expressions are responsible for a huge proportion of non-verbal communication. The types of facial communication and expression distinctly reveals happiness, sadness, fear and anger. Consider how much information can be conveyed with a smile or when irritated. The look on a person's face is often the first thing we see, even before we hear what they have to say. The most interesting bit is, while non-verbal communication and behavior can vary dramatically between cultures, the facial expression for happiness, sadness, anger and fear are similar throughout the world. The third most important element is posture. Can be categorized as open or closed, and it reflects emotions, attitudes and intention. Posture is a way a person stands or sits. The posture of a person while speaking indicates his mental state. It could be relaxed, confident, attentive, or impatient. A lot can be inferred about the social standing of a person by observing his or her posture. There are two types of posture. Closed posture, which is seen as a person guarding their space with arm folded, putting up a closed barrier with crossed legs and turning away from another person in conversation. Whereas open posture, it is softer and gentle. Hands are apart, arms are resting in the lap or on the chair. In this form of posture, there is an openness and interest in the other person, a willingness to listen. An open posture displays friendliness, warmth, and positivity. In open posture, one sits straight, feels spread, wide open, and palm facing outward. A relaxed facial expression with a good eye contact shows receptivity, whereas closed posture displays boredom, indifference, and negativity. In this posture, one sits in a hunched forward position with the crossing legs, showing the back of the hands with the clenched hands. Let's explore gesture. It is an important part of nonverbal communication. Bodily parts of the body, particularly hands and face, move to communicate message. Gesture use different parts of the body, while a pose make a larger movement involving the whole body, but still demonstrating a sentiment or adding meaning to the spoken word. In the early days of silent movies, the stories was told with the gestures and postures. There are three main types of gestures: adapters, emblems, illustrators. Adapters are touching behavior and movement that can be targeted towards the self, object, or others. Emblems can be used instead of a word, and it is these gestures that actually cross language barriers. It is a kind of a gesture that serves the main purpose as a word. A hand wave, thumbs up, thumbs down are all emblems gesture that have specific meaning. Illustrators are gestures that are accompany words. Nodding your head and agreeing at the same time is an illustrator of agreement. Pointing a finger and giving direction at the same time is another illustrator. Haptics is the study of touching as non-verbal communication. Haptics is the notion of interaction through the touch. Touches that can be defined as communication includes handshakes, holding hands, kissing on cheeks, lips, hands, or even the patting on the shoulder. Each of these gives off non-verbal messages as to the touching person's intentions and feelings. Touch may be of several types, such as functional, professional, social polite, or friendship warmth, etc. At the functional professional level, touch is related to a goal, meaning some specific action. But at the societal level, which is also called social level, socially sanctioned touching behavior helps initiate interactions. Always remember, touch may have different connotation on different occasions and between people from different backgrounds. The study of what people communicate by standing closer or farther away is called Proximics. It's noticed that social distance can be correlated with physical distance, means the study of human space and distance in communication. While talking to an unknown person, we keep a safe distance, and if come closer, we feel uncomfortable. But while conversing with a friend, this space shrinks. Thus, There are different spaces depending on the relationship between the persons communicating. There are 4 types of space: intimate, personal, social and public. Intimate is the touching, embracing, whispering. Only close people are usually admitted to this zone. For example, children and spouse. We say it around 1.5 feet. The personal space is between 1.5 feet to 4 feet. Talking with a normal voice, usually acceptable for friends and relatives. Social, which is between 4 feet to 12 feet. Talking with a normal or somewhat loud voice, used for acquaintance or unfamiliar people. Public, more than 12 feet. Talking with a loud voice or using a special device like a microphone or a loudspeaker, used for lectures and public presentations to a group of people. Now, I am going to focus on appearances and artifacts. Appearances also plays an important role. You must have heard impression is the last impression. You must have heard first impression is the last impression. Through appearance, you create a positive or negative first impression on others. The way you present yourself shows your interest, aesthetic, taste and self-discipline's habit. Therefore, you need to dress appropriately and look appealing. Appearance have 2 components: physical characteristics and the artifacts. How the body is covered. Factors such as height, physique, shape, weight, etc. contributes to make the physical appearance attractive, and jewelry, visible body art, hairstyle are all artifacts. One has to choose artifacts according to the occasion. Your credibility can be determined by how you dress and kind of artifacts you use. Any non-verbal action that supports word is called paralanguage, which is also known as vocalics. According to the study, up to 90% of the communication is non-verbal. Getting one's message across is made easier through voice inflection, facial expression and body languages. While speaking, we may change our tone, accent, pitch, whisper or shout, emphasis certain words. All this comes under paralanguage. Thus, paralanguage refers to the non-verbal element of communication. Consider the powerful effect that tone of voice can have on the meaning of a sentence. When said in a strong tone of voice, listener might interpret approval and enthusiasm. The same word said in a hesitant tone of voice might convey disapproval and a lack of interest. You have learned about types of non-verbal communication. Let's now learn how the non-verbal communication can be improved. It is not only what you say that is important, but it is how you say is that make the difference to the recipients. Non-verbal messages are essential component of communication in the communication process. A lot can be said without words in a face-to-face conversation. Often, our non-verbal communication are facial expressions, body posture, eye contact speaks loudest. These non-verbal cues play a huge role in how words and intentions are interpreted. Good non-verbal skills can help show our supports by expressing you genuinely care and are truly hearing what someone has to say. It helps in establishing and maintaining the interpersonal relationships. People use non-verbal to express emotions and interpersonal attitudes, conduct rituals. Sometimes the non-verbal act as a barrier to communicating effectively, as the recipient could not understand what the sender is trying to say and may interpret it wrongly. One should be aware of non-verbal behavior in the entire communication process for three major reasons. Non-verbal message is the combination process and is very essential. Hence, you become a better receiver of message, you will become better sender of signals and increase the degree of perceived psychological closeness between yourself and receiver. The second most important one is paying close attention to non-verbal signals. Avoid giving conflicting signals. Try to be honest as possible in communicating your emotions. Smile. Smile genuinely. Faking a smile is obvious to the observer. Maintain an eye contact. Be aware of your posture, of the gesture you use. Try to use appropriate vocal signals while minimizing unintentional messages. Imitate the appearance of the people you want to impress. Respect your audience's comfort zone. Adapt and adopt a handshake that matches your personality and intentions. And of course, be aware of wearing an attitude towards the time. Use touch when appropriate. And the third most important one, interpret non-verbal signals very carefully. Be aware that people may give false non-verbal cues. Remember, few gestures convey meaning in and of themselves, and consider non-verbal signals in the context of situations and culture. With this, communication is a sign of life and communicate effectively. Thank you so much.